coming. I feel it in the wind. All that grind, all that pain, about to turn to winds. Every no you heard, God gon' flip to yes. Every closed door was just a divine test. So keep going hard, don't slow down, yeah. You ain't worked this long just to have regrets. You about to rise like you always knew. Your time coming, it's overdue. You kept showing love even when they switched. Kept walking light when life got dark quick. You poured into others while running on E.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Her Side Conversations. It's your girl Marketia, and as always, this space is where we heal, grow, and get real about the parts of womanhood we don't always like to talk about out loud. Now, before we jump in, I just want to say thank you for every woman who's been showing love, listening, journaling, and sending messages about the conversations that we've been having over the last 16 weeks. Can you guys believe it? It's been 16 weeks in here. This tribe is growing. Thank you for sharing everything out there. I'm super impressed with you guys because when I went back, we almost have our 500 listening views, and I'm stoked, and I can't wait till we meet that goal. But I'm so grateful that we're doing this healing work together. So today's episode is one that's been on my heart for a while because it's something that every woman has faced. That season where you feel like life sat you down and you're trying to figure out how to get back up. And to help us unpack that, I have someone very special joining Her Side Tribe for the very first time. Y'all, please help me welcome Tangela T. Saylor. Tangela is a wife, a mother, an ordained minister, a certified life coach, and just a beautiful soul all around. She's what we like to call a purpose pusher, someone who reminds women that you can rise above fear, self-doubt, and everything that's tried to hold you back. Through her company, Focused on Forward Coaching, she's helped women refocus, renew their confidence, and walk boldly in their God-given purpose. She's the creator of I Am More Purpose workshops, co-host of the B Circle podcast, and the author of her brand new book, Sis, It's Time to Get Up. So grab your tea, your journal, and maybe you might need a blanket too, because this one's going to pour right into your spirit. Tangela, welcome to Her Side Conversations. I'm so excited to finally have you here with us. This is your first time joining the Her Side Tribe. How are you feeling?
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm feeling good. It's an honor to be here. And I'm so proud of you as well. I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing with this podcast. This is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
love that. You've got such a peaceful presence, and that energy fits perfectly here. So let's start with the title of your book, Sis, It's Time to Get Up. That alone stops you in your tracks. Tell us where
Mm-hmm.
that title came from and what it means to you.
Sis, at times to get up came from me walking through my own personal journey and having to get up and overcome some personal struggles in my life. There's a season I was going through that I wasn't dealing with just one challenge. I was dealing with several challenges at one time. I felt like a failure in my marriage because things needed to be worked through. I had stress and frustration from work weighing on me. I was in physical pain in my body. And I'm like asking the Lord, like, can I get my healing already?
Yeah.
I felt forgotten and abandoned and confused about my own purpose and things that was going on in ministry. And like I said, just multiple things at one time. And I carried those things alone, not because I had to, but because I chose to. And in that isolation, I started agreeing with the negative things that I was carrying instead of agreeing with God's truth about me. And so I was going through this, and as I was going through this, the Lord kept speaking to me, saying, "It's time to get up and show up. People are waiting for you." And as I was going through that, that was just making me so mad. I was annoyed by those words,
Yeah.
like "get up and show up." It
Like,
was
I'm
so
here,
annoying.
God. I'm already here.
Right. It was like, I'm going through some stuff. You talking about get up, show up, people waiting for me. They're going to be waiting then because I'm not feeling this right now. So, but that was a journey that I had to go through, and I had to stop And I had to be honest with myself about some things that was holding me back from walking in my own purpose, my own potential, and even my peace. And I had to get back in agreement with God's word and his promises for my life and get out of agreement with my emotions and the problems that I was just going through at that time.
Mm.
It was seasonal. It wasn't forever,
Yeah,
but I was thinking it was forever, you know?
it does feel like it
Um,
sometimes.
it does. It does feel like it's forever. But I know God has brought me through before. He has delivered me and set me free, and he's brought me out before. But in that moment, because so much was coming at me at one time, this felt different. You know,
Okay.
have you ever gone through things and you're like, I've gone through things before, but this is different. This
Yeah,
hits different. So all of that and all I went through and the building and the training and the people God was bringing across my path to encourage me and to speak life to me and things that I had to surrender and I had to be real with myself about and I had to say, okay, you got to go back to trusting God. You know how like your parents say, go acting like you ain't been trained well.
yeah,
Like you don't know how you was raised. You know, you need
yeah.
to quit acting like that. So it was like, you know, I had to get back with that. I was recording our podcast of the B Circle last week, and I had the honor to talk about my book. And I brought this scripture up, Amos 3:3. I call it one of my get up scriptures that says, "Can two walk together unless they are agreed?" And God
Mhm.
spoke to that to me as I was going through this. Daughter, how can you be walking with me if you don't agree with anything I'm saying about you?
Oh, ooh,
Yeah, and that's how I felt. It just kind of hit me straight in the face.
yeah, yeah.
And it was a wake up call. So my wake up call for me to start getting up. And that's what set the heart for this title to the other sisters out there who's going through those setbacks, who's going through those doubts, who's going through those fears and insecurities because things have been hitting you. Things have come out,
Hmm.
come at you, and I think that title right there is just a reminder that we don't have to live in that. We don't have to die in that. That doesn't have to be our end. There's another chapter for us. And sis, we got to start believing in ourselves again, believing in God's truth about ourselves, and start making that process and that courage faith to get up.
Wow, that was powerful because I think so many of us have had these moments where we've been stuck in survival mode for so long that peace or even purpose feels foreign. What do
Yep.
you say to the woman listening who knows she's been sitting in that stuck place mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, but she doesn't know how to get up?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It is a process,
Hmm.
okay? This isn't something that just happens overnight. It's not, but like I said, it's a surrender. It's a surrender. It's a being honest with yourself about yourself. And it's something that I quote, I think, in my first lesson of my book. It starts there. I am not okay.
Yeah.
I am hurting. I am struggling with something. But you have to make that decision. Nobody can make that for you that I don't want to stay here. I
Yeah.
don't want to be at this place. I don't want to live in this place of brokenness. I don't want to be in this place of hurt. Again, like you said, this survival mode. You
Yes.
know, God desires that we thrive, not just survive, but that we start thriving. So it first starts with this self belief that this isn't the end for me. It's something I'm experiencing, yes. It's something that I'm going through, absolutely, yes. But this isn't the end of my story. I tell women sometimes, I minister with it, we kind of have to change our perspective about the things that we're going through. And one of those things I had to say, this isn't the end of me, but what's next for me. It
Yes.
doesn't all end here. And then we have to go through that surrender. And for me, it was surrendering those fears, those doubts, those hurts, the things that are out of my control.
Hmm.
Surrender. God, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm going to give it to you.
And
And
that's
then I'm going to
hard.
let you. It is hard. It is hard because you're carrying that. You're feeling that. Um, Sometimes we get so used to being in that place, it's just become our comfortable,
Yes,
our
because I'm
safe
not gonna lie
place.
to y'all. I'm a control freak. So it is sometimes very
Ooh,
much
yeah.
hard for me to relinquish that control. And I know that may sound stupid, but um
Mm-mm.
it's hard to give even God the control because I feel like I'm out of control when I don't when I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing what I'm
Mm-hmm.
supposed to down here. Like I just feel like everything's about to fall apart. And that comes with faith too. You gotta trust. You
Yeah.
gotta have faith.
And you know what? You believe it or not, so many of us have that. We struggle with that
Yes.
release of control. Because like for me, it's like if I don't know what's going on, I don't know the details all of about it, that's throwing me off. I
Me
need to
too.
know everything that's going down.
Yes. I'm nosy like that. I'm like, I have
Yeah,
the
from
nosiest job in the world. I have a job as an HR admin, and literally, like, I need to know what's going on from the start of my day to the finish of my day. And if I don't, like you said, that throws me completely off, and
hmm
I don't feel like everything is gonna go right for the rest of the day.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it starts with those that are struggling with that get up. I believe, one, it starts with a belief, a self belief that I can rise from this, that you're still valuable, you're still significant, even with setbacks, even with loss, even when disappointments have hit your life. You have to believe that for yourself.
Hmm.
And then when we believe that, when we truly believe that, our behavior starts to change, our conversation change, how we think about ourselves, how we see ourselves begin to change. You walk differently.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
talk differently. You carry yourself differently. When we attach our identity to God's truth, to this belief that I can do this, I can carry this, I'm more than what I've been through, and what God placed in me is still alive and working. And when you have that kind of belief, sis, can't nobody tell you anything differently.
That's a fact.
And the enemy sure can't handle it. Like, can I give you an example?
Yes. Go ahead.
So, and the enemy will try to come for your confidence again. When you decide, all of you out here can relate to this. The minute you decide I'm about to make some changes in my life, whether it's some health changes, whether it's some relationship changes, whether it's a job change, maybe you starting to cut some people out of your life that's just been drama, chaos. Every time you start to make those healthy, better changes, the enemy starts coming at you
Yes.
with attacking your confidence. Yeah, attacking
Yes.
your mind, lies, fears, people that you ain't talked to in years just popping up,
Just pop it
starting
up.
mess,
Oh my
popping
God.
up. So just out of nowhere.
She's spot on tonight, y'all. She's spot on.
I'm for real. You trying to lose weight, get in shape, get that body right, and all of a sudden people want to ask you out to eat all the time that you ain't talked to, and you got all these crazy temptations you ain't never thought about. I mean, he'll come at you with that. So last week, I'm sitting in my car, right? I'm ordering me some food. I'm about to go pick it up, and out of nowhere, this thought comes into my head. I call it fiery darts, and it just hit me about my upcoming book signing. Okay, and it
Hmm.
hits me a negative thought, and I'm like, wait a minute. Where did that come from? And I'm gonna be real with you. You know what the thought was? It was like, I don't know why you having this. Ain't nobody gonna show up for it. That just came out of nowhere.
Wow.
And immediately, some of us will go back into that hiding place and, like, you know what? Maybe I better postpone this.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not getting enough attention. Maybe I'm not telling enough people about it. And I said to myself, enemy, you still think you're dealing with the old me, but that's
Ooh,
not me anymore.
right.
That's not going to work. So right there in my car, I start shutting down those lies and shutting down every whisper that didn't line up with God's promises. And I'm like, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to shrink back. I'm not going to hide. That was the old me. You're not dealing with the old me. You're dealing with God confident T, a faithful T, a spirit led T. You're dealing with the woman who knows that greater is he that is in her than he that is in the world. He done forgot who he was talking to.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that happens, but it starts with a self belief. I only could do that because I started to believe that. I have started to believe that about myself. And I've started to surrender things to God that I struggle with.
Wow. Now, you talk about fear and doubt in your book, and I love that you are like right now. I couldn't even wait to say this. You do not sugarcoat anything, and we love that over here on her side. Like the her side tribers, we are just honest, unfiltered, and we just get down with the grit. Um, but because fear is real,
Yep.
and what were some of the fears or doubts? Because you just shared kind of one there that had the loudest voice on your own journey.
My loudest fears, there was two of them. The one was no one would take me seriously. When God told me to step out into life coaching, when I decided to do that, that was a fear of mine that no one would take me seriously.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other life coaches out there. What am I going to do or say any differently that is going to help anybody, draw anybody in, make them want to connect to me. That was
Mhm.
a fear. And another fear that I struggled with was my voice, was my message. Even when writing my book, even when my own coach, I connected to my own personal life coach, and she was like, I want you to step out and do workshops and get on Facebook and be visible and, talk about your struggles, talk about this or that.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, I was so intimidated with my voice and my message. And when I say that, like the way that I speak or talk, it's not eloquent enough. It's not, doesn't sound sophisticated enough. My message, what I've been through, is it really, sometimes we think, let me see how to put this. Like maybe your struggle, your testimony isn't tragedy enough
Oh yeah.
to
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't important. Yeah. So just because, maybe I didn't go through a loss of, let's just say a loss of a child, or maybe a terrible, maybe, assault
Mhm.
against myself, or, you think about those things. That's just really tragedy. And they are.
Yeah.
Um, because I didn't go through that, I don't have a testimony. I really ain't been through nothing. And that was something that I struggled with and had fears about that. What can I say in my struggle or in my setbacks or things that I had to overcome that will really be impactful or helpful to someone? So that was a big fear and something that I had to overcome, because your inner critic will whisper and tell you, like, who do you think you are?
Mhm.
You don't matter. You have nothing to say. You're helping nobody or impacting nobody. No one wants to hear that.
Yep.
And again, I had to learn that fear and self-doubt usually appears right before you're about to step in something greater.
Oh man. Oh my gosh.
it it always seems to show up right about that time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
And God really had to deal with me about some things about that. One, trusting what He's placed inside of me. One, trusting my voice and my message. It doesn't have to sound like anybody else but mine. This is my story, my testimony, what I've been through, and it's relatable. It's a lot of women carry these things, and we sit there and think, people look at my life. You have a great marriage, you have a great family, you got a nice house, you got a great job, and why would you have anything to be upset about, anything to be mad about, or anything?
yep.
So we carry that, yeah, and we stay silent. And that was my fear, that what I was struggling with, it would reach no one. It wouldn't impact anyone. And that's a lie, because I am finding that it is
It
in
is.
so many ways.
Yes.
Wow.
100%. Those are 100% good examples, and I feel like it's real. Like I'm sitting over here shaking my head the entire time. It's all relatable because I literally, that's how I felt when I started Her Side. And my Her Side tribers, they
Hmm.
know that mine stemmed from an incident, and then it just kind of kept going. And I was floored when I got a chance to look at my analytics, and every single week I have more listeners than last week. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I
Wow.
literally had to go back and
Right.
I had to do some research and say, okay, well, it said I had like 76 listeners. Is like, does this count when people go back and stop midway and then start it up again? And literally,
Right.
it's not. It is 76 individual people who decided to tap in and listen to this.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
crazy. I was
And
like, what?
that's awesome.
Yes,
I know, right?
Lord. So yes,
That's awesome.
I completely agree with you, and I can definitely relate to all of that. And I say that it's real because even when we know what God said, and you've said this kind of already, um, that fear, it can still whisper. Like
Hmm.
you've already stated that, but what if you're not enough? That type of stuff you've already stated, and I felt that. Like, what? How am I going to differentiate myself? It's a million podcasts out here. What do I have to
Yep.
say to people that they come and listen to me every single week? And I, like you said, I had to shut that down and just go. Like, I know it's somebody who feels exactly what I feel and who's sitting exactly where I'm sitting. And not only am I going to heal
Hmm.
myself, I'm looking to help them to heal themselves too through this. So I know
Right.
exactly where you are coming from. How did you begin the silence? How do you begin to silence those voices and walk in confidence again?
Well, okay. So I told you. I kind of mentioned this. I
Yeah.
had a set of what I call get up scriptures, okay,
Mm-hmm.
for me. That like the Lord just led me to those scriptures. Those were like my go-to scriptures when things happen to me. So when you say like silence those self-doubts, I'm gonna give you ladies out there one of these scriptures that I use, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's in 2 Corinthians 10:5. And it talks about casting down those imaginations, those high things, those that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing every thought into captivity. So what is it? What it's saying that when it comes in, immediately cast it down. Now I ain't gonna lie, we don't always do the immediately. I
That's
didn't
true.
always do the immediately.
Yeah.
You will entertain it. You will. I'm gonna be real about it. I did too. Here's the key: is when you start agreeing with it, that's when it can become destructive and deadly. And also for me, and this is something I didn't do in the beginning always. I call them, and I think you actually said the Herside tribe. Is that what you said when you first
Yeah.
started?
Yep.
But you call yourself, yep. I have a growth tribe, a growth
Ooh.
tribe. And these are specific women who I trust with, outside of my husband, every part of me. The
Okay.
real, the ugly, the when I'm in the wrong, the when I in the right, the when I need some advice, when I'm struggling with something. Like these are women that I can be honest with, be transparent with. I can say like, this is what I'm feeling today, or I have this thought, I'm struggling with this. Okay, I handled this way. Was I right? Da 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 da. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I use my tribe. These are women who pray for me, even in private. They don't need my permission. Just last week, I had some reaching out to me, praying for me, standing with me. I needed that.
Mm-hmm.
So those, in the combination with those help me to silence those doubts and fears. They kind of like they bring you kind of like back into focus, back
Yes.
into zone, back into the truth. Like, okay, now you know that's not the truth about you. You know that's not what God said about you. I do know you kind of need those reminders. You need those
Yeah.
reminders. God's word is my ultimate reminder, right? But it's important to have people in your corner, your tribe, your people who keeps you accountable, who kind of keeps you from jumping off the cliff, I kind of say,
Yeah.
um, reel you back
Or her
in.
side tribe. We're gonna get it right here for the millennials and all that. It keep us from crashing out. Okay? That's what she's trying to say to us.
Okay.
It
Yep.
keep us from crashing out.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I know. Sometimes people are like, I'm super old. I can't keep up with all this stuff. And I'm like, I am not that old. But
Yeah.
anyways, okay. But you're right. It does. And we feel like we have to carry things alone, um, because we feel like, I don't, who can I, no, I don't have anyone to trust. I don't know. I don't want people to think this way about me. I don't want to think I was the person people go to, as the person of strength. As a
Mm-hmm.
person who always seemed to have it together. Like you said, the person that's the calming person. Well, even the strong needs someone to lean on too.
Yes.
You need someone too. And so I'm thankful for that. And I tell women, if you don't have that, you pray. God, send me a confidant, a woman friend, a sister friend who I can trust, who I can depend on, who will be hold me accountable, who I can let in to
Yes.
speak, to get wisdom, to encouragement. And I believe that I will bring you such a person. He is brought to me. I believe it.
Yes. And I think that sometimes that's kind of hard for, I'm going to speak for myself and maybe others out
Hmm.
there as you begin to grow in life and you begin to mature, you lose friends, you gain friends. And sometimes, and we had a
Hmm.
segment weeks back, guys, about the real friendships. And literally, it is hard. We don't even know how to make do with new friendships sometimes because you have so many, the way of the world, so many people that are out here and they are just talking and running your business down behind your back and all that. So I 100% agree
Yeah.
with you. Got to pray for somebody who's going to be in your corner 100%, 10 toes down, that you know that you could tell all of your fears, all of your bad stuff that maybe you do, or your good stuff, and it's not going nowhere. And I feel like that's hard to find.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think it's rare.
Yes.
And so when you do have it and when you do find it, you treasure it, um, you protect it, you nurture it well. But what I'm going to say with that also is when you have a tribe like this, you have to be able to trust those people to speak into your life and correct you in love. because
Yes.
sometimes you ain't wrong.
You are is thank you. Yes.
And
You are not always right.
so you got to be willing. You can't be getting salty and giving your tribe a silent treatment because they corrected you and they called you out. Again, that
Yes.
goes back to accountability. And
Hmm.
so they're not just in my life to pray and praise me all the time, but they're in there because I trust them to say, all right, T, I got one in particular. She was like, no, you shouldn't have said that. And I'm like, yeah, I think I should have. I'm like, nope, you can't be talking like that. So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
just very real. Sometimes I'd be like, yep, I said it. I did. And yep, that's how I handle it. And
Yep.
it wasn't the right way. I'm like, okay, well,
You're
I
right.
done did it now. So
Right.
Lord
It's out
help me
there.
make
Let
this
me write
right.
myself down. Yes.
Right. Right.
Now, you said something that reminded me that sometimes faith isn't about being or feeling fearless. It's about doing it scared. What has helped you push through those
Hmm.
scared but doing it anyway seasons?
That's good. So when I talk to people again, because they hear me say, talk about my faith, talk about my strength, and like, oh, you so fearless, and oh, you're so confident, and things like that. That's something that I had to walk out.
Okay.
Okay, it's something that I had to walk out day to day. And it's not that I'm, this is how I feel about it. It's not that I'm fearless.
Mm-hmm.
I have decided that I'm going to be faith led. Okay.
Okay.
That's the difference for me. Because you're still going to have fears. They don't disappear. I don't care how long you've been saved. I don't care how long you've overcome things. You're still going to face fear. It doesn't disappear. Okay. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, that usually shows up when you're about to step into something greater. Okay.
Facts.
But again, I have to go back and remembering, like what I like to say is God's track record. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's always been with me every step of the way. His track record is flawless. The problem is sometimes I'm going to say I don't want nobody to get offended. Now I'm going to say we. How about we? Sometimes we don't include him in every step of the way. Okay.
Oh, that's true.
Sometimes you're right. I got this. Or where we hit the wall or mess up with, Lord, I need you. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yep.
God, I want you with every part of this. I'm not going to be ahead of you, behind you. Let's work together in this. And so when I finally decided to go back to that, where God, you take the lead in all things, even when I don't quite understand it, even when I don't have all the answers, me and you, Marquita, we don't got all the answers. We don't have
Hmm.
it all figured out.
That's
Okay.
right.
It's still going to be okay. When I first launched my first workshop, writing this book, speaking publicly, those weren't fearless moments. I'm not going to sit here and act like, yeah, I just stepped up to the plate like a boss.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Those weren't fearless moments. You know what they were? They were obedient moments.
Okay.
So I'm not teaching anyone to be fearless or invincible, where nothing hurts you, nothing shakes you. Um, I want to teach you to be faith led. And even in spite of the fears, that
Mm-hmm.
you can still move forth. In spite of the fears, I'm still going to trust God. In spite of the fears, I'm still going to believe that there is more for me, that there's potential within me, that there's purpose within me. And I'm going to move. I'm going to step up, even if my knees are knocking. I'm going to still do it, trusting God all the way. And you
The
will
whole way.
find the whole way, and you'll find you probably end up blowing your own mind. You
That's
will
oh my
find that
God.
you had it all in you the whole
The whole
time.
time. The whole time. And didn't even
The
know.
whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Like you
So that's
calling
what it
my
is for
I feel
me.
like you
It's not
calling my
about
card
being
tonight.
fear.
Like I'll be on your phone
You
next
know,
week
people, I've
for
been
some
hearing
coaching.
that.
You pull.
Come on. Come on. Come
Okay.
on.
You've also been very transparent about mental emotional battles, and I respect that because healing isn't always pretty and sometimes it's not even quick. How did you learn to give yourself grace
Nope.
in seasons where your mind and your faith didn't line up?
Okay, and you just said it right there. Healing, grace, they are not picture perfect moments. They're messy sometimes. They're very messy. And in that mess, they can be honest and they can be holy, I think. Healing looks like crying one day and then maybe laughing the next day.
Hmm.
It looks like saying, I'm okay, but still showing up to, saying, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And I've had to say that I'm not okay today. but still showing up tomorrow to try again.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes it's not tomorrow, it's maybe 3 days later. So I've done that too,
Facts.
or a week later.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not okay today. But for me, it was like, yeah, I'm not okay today. Today is a hard day. Today's a rough day. Today I'm struggling today. Um, but for me, I'm not staying here. I'm not okay with staying here. I don't like the way this feels. I don't like the way where my mind goes, where my thoughts go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the energy that's being sucked from me. So, grace reminds me that I don't have to have it all together to be loved by God or used by God. I just got to keep my heart open to Him.
Mm.
And grace says, you're still growing through this, T, and I'm still with you in it. Today was a rough day, but I'm still with you day by day, baby, step by step.
Yep.
So it's a process, and I would keep saying I was thinking about in my journey. I would keep saying, I can't life coach anyone right now. I'm a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mess right now. I need my own coach. I have nothing to say to encourage anyone that hasn't already been said. I have nothing to give. Well, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't see that. But God's grace was sufficient to carry me in that hot mess one day at a time, one day at a time.
Yep.
And don't get caught up in the speed of things. We compare ourselves, and I struggled with this. Comparison was a huge thing for me as well in my journey. Negative comparison, okay? We compare ourselves to other people's success and how fast other people are moving, and like you hear other testimonies of people coming out of healing and brokenness, and like maybe it only took them a years, or maybe 2 years, 3 years, and you feel like you're still carrying.
Yeah.
So we start comparing. Everybody had a start. Don't compare yourself to somebody else's middle.
Mm-hmm.
They had a start too. Um, so God was sufficient to carry me in that hot mess. And now that hot mess that took a day by day process, one step at a time to rise up from and overcome, is now part of my message.
Which
So
is
what
so
does healing and grace look like in real life? Imperfect, messy, but yet a lot of possibility attached to it. That's
big.
how I feel about it.
Yay. I feel the same way. We just kind of talked about this this past week. And some of the things that you went over was some of the things, guys, that you already listened to. But again, that's just confirmation that not only one person's perspective is saying that. Here's a totally different woman who's sitting here today with the Her Side Tribe and saying some of the same exact important things. And I feel that it's important because so many women are trying to heal and still show up for everybody else, right? Because that definitely was
Mm-hmm.
me. That definitely is me because I am still on
Yep.
my journey of healing. But what does healing look like for you right now in the current, in real life? Like, what was your daily peace practices or routines that keep you grounded?
For me, again, it was going back to God with everything, every part of thing. I mean, every frustrating thing, every hard thing, every difficult thing, every fear. When my coach was telling me to do something, where things was going on in my life, my body, my marriage, finally letting God into all of that, all of it, and say, I'm struggling with this, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? How do I pray about this? And then again, being honest, when my tribe would check in, how's it going today? No, it's good. I'm great. How are you? Nope. Today, sis, it's a hard day. This is what I'm dealing with. Um, Sometimes I would text them. I remember a couple weeks ago, as you know, my grandma passed away, and
Mm-hmm.
it was right, and dealing with that and launching my book. I was also asked to preach at my now new church that I've been 2 years. We have at first time preaching. So I was just, it was a lot I was carrying, and just a lot. And I mean, I'm at my work desk, just like breaking down and crying. And
Yeah.
I finally, the Lord said, text your tribe. And I did. And Marquita, I text them in the midst of tears. I'm at my desk sniffing. I'm in cubicle, so I'm sniffing and crying and everything. And as I'm texting them, and I'm like, look, this is what's going on. And the old me would have not be sharing this with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I just need prayers. I got this, that. It's been heavy, but not, and I am telling you, boom, I'm getting voice text messages, and I couldn't answer because I was at work, but they praying on the line with me. Immediate prayers back. I had one said, "Look, what time you get off? I'm coming over. We're gonna pray together."
Oh my God.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes. And it began to lift. And I felt the next day, I felt better. The next day, I felt even better. The next day, I had the strength to carry on and handle my business. So in real life, I can't stress this enough. It goes back to being honest again. Honest about the struggle, honest about the pain, honest about what you're feeling. Because we feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It stings, it hurts, letting God into every part of it, but letting the right people also in to be there to support you, to speak life into you, and to help you in these messy healing moments.
Yes, and I love that. And I think that we underestimate how powerful some of the simple things are, like honesty. Sometimes it could be rest,
Yeah.
stillness, or boundaries. We underestimate how powerful those things are. Now, for the woman listening who
Mm-hmm.
feels like she's too far gone, who feels like she's made too many mistakes or missed too many opportunities, what would you tell her?
I would tell you, and I'm going to say as simple as this: it's not over. It is not over. And again, this is not the end of your story. We've all made mistakes. We've all wished that we started things sooner. I even said to this, I should have moved sooner. How further along could I have been if, I moved sooner?
Yeah.
We can't do anything about that, but you can start now. What does today hold for you now? You can start somewhere today. And so don't let the enemies and do not let others tell you what your future looks like. Don't let your problems, don't let your past, don't let your hurt, don't let your pain begin to dictate that this is all that there is for you.
And
It's a
that's so
lie.
funny.
It's a lie.
I think that
Go
I
ahead.
just seen something across TikTok that said something like that. Like, you shouldn't let people tell you who've never been in your shoes or are not going where you're going, what the end results of something is going to be or how your journey is going to go. And I felt that. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, you just spoke to that, like, oh man, because people have a tendency to do that. And everybody's advice
Yep.
is good advice, and everybody has sound advice. And I've learned as I've matured that I take people's advice with a grain of salt. You know the advice that you need to take, and you know it's solid, and you're gonna put that in your backpack. But everybody telling me what to do, you should
Mm-hmm.
do this or you should do that. This is how you should live life. And you're 39 years old and you're still not doing this. You are not accomplished. And if you haven't done, it's so much that, you know what I'm saying? Like, mentally, emotionally, it kind of weighs you
Mm-hmm.
down. So that right there, I'm glad you said that because I feel like that's like double confirmation for me at
Yes,
least.
and that's awesome. Praise God. And with that, to tag on what you just said, that's why it's so important. And I tell women this is when you're in that season where you're pressed, where you're hurt, where you're broken, be careful who's speaking into your world. Be
Ooh,
careful who's because they will keep you in that place
right there.
because they're
Oh
hurt
my
and
God.
they're broken.
Oh my
Yeah, yeah.
goodness.
So when I'm in those places, one, I'm mindful of what I allow to come out of my mouth because you'll start speaking from those places. And the death of life and death are in the power of the tongue. We quote that all the time. So I was terrible about speaking death and destruction and impossibility and limitations over my own future because of the pain I was experiencing at the moment of the struggle I was in. Okay.
Mhm.
So I had to be mindful of that and then be mindful of who I let in, who I let speak into my ear when I'm in those places. Because some people want to keep you there because they're there.
Yeah.
And then you have the people who want to push you into purpose and who want to see you excel and blossom and be everything God has called you to be. So I'm glad that you said that. There's not every voice I listen to. Oh, I
Yeah.
appreciate you, bless you. But no, not everybody's going to speak into my life because you're not
That's
going to
true.
keep me bound to my past.
That's right. Oh my goodness. And I'm learning that. And it's a daily thing for me. I'm never not in a space where I'm not learning. And so when I see something like that
Mhm.
or I hear you confirm something like that, it just reminds me like the work that I'm doing is it's not done. I'm not done. And I need to be careful while I'm on my journey
Yes,
too. Yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
Now let's
That's
talk
good.
about let's talk about purpose because that's your lane. You help women refocus and move forward. But what does purpose mean to you personally?
So this is, as I've been growing in this is not just the easy one swap answer. Okay. So for me, what purpose is, it is something beyond just what you're passionate to do. It's what you're born to do. It flows out of you, and people get stuck on that word purpose because I say this all the time. They attach it to a platform.
Mm.
And if we feel like we don't have the lights, the cameras, the platform, then we don't have purpose. And that's not true. Purpose is usually, I believe, is something that you're already walking in. You just don't see it as that. Um, the things that you like to do. Maybe if it's a creativity that you have. Maybe it's how you, a speaking gift that you have. Maybe it's you just being that person that loves on people and just show that they're loved and that they're encouraged and that they matter. Those things are purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that bring blessing and healing and strength to people. And sometimes it's done in private. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
in public or on platform,
Yeah.
which doesn't mean it doesn't have purpose and that it's not significant. And so people ask that question because it's like they want you, and I'm not saying this is what you're saying,
Yeah.
but they ask that because they want you to tell them what their purpose is. I can't tell you what your purpose is. I can kind of give you ideas. Well, what is it that flows out of you just easily? What makes you smile? For me, like when you close your eyes and you dream and you think about things, what brings a smile to your face? What just kind of lights a fire for you? For me, in pushing other people, into their better, seeing other people grow and blossom, and being able to help them in any form or way that I can to get to that place where they're doing better, living better, walking in their potential, walking in a commitment and a focus and energy that they struggle with having. Like that for me, that is fulfilling. That just
Mm-hmm.
blesses my heart in such a special way to see people who just were always struggling, always going backwards, to finally grasp
Yeah.
on to God, to faith, to the word, to self commitment and focus, and now they're soaring. So for me, I
Yes.
know that that's my purpose. That's my lane, like you said. Okay, my coaching God told me this is a purpose position. It's not just a title. And I got caught up in that it's a title. No, God said this is bigger than that, and people are telling me that too. Like I believe in myself, or I'm doing things I thought I would never do had I not connected with you and you opened my eyes to some things. Okay, so that's my lane. But there is still things that you do. You just don't do it the way that I do it. That
Mm-hmm.
has significance and have importance. And it very well, you already may be doing it. You very well already be walking in your purpose. It brings you joy, it brings you fulfillment. You rather be doing that than anything else,
Yeah.
but you don't see it as purpose because it doesn't come with a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Pray. Ask God to help you uncover what it is that you'll be doing. Purpose isn't lost. You just need to uncover it. And you need to understand what it looks like and what it is for you. I know that may be the answers that some people want to
Yeah.
hear, but I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to just make up something because
Yeah.
I have to, that's how I had to understand. And that's what connected for me is that it's bigger than a platform and lights. It may be very well something that you already do that flows out of you, that you're connected to, that already brings fulfillment and joy. You just don't see it that way because you want to put a title on it, or you want to put lights on it, or you want to put a platform on it.
Yeah. And I love that because purpose isn't always this big dramatic calling. Sometimes it's being faithful right where you are, right here, right where you are. Now, you wear a lot of hats: mom, wife, minister, coach, podcaster, and now author. How do you balance it all without losing you in the middle of it?
For me, balance doesn't always look like equal time. It's not going to be all equal. I ain't going to be
Okay.
able to give 30 minutes to be an author, life coach,
Yeah.
family, personal prayer. What it is for me, it's intentional time and presence. Okay?
Okay.
Intentional time and presence. So let me try to explain that. So my faith is the foundation that keeps me. It keeps me my heart steady, my mind steady. It keeps me calm when some days are busier and tougher than other days. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's like the center for me. That's where my strength and my source, my stability lies.
Yeah.
So for me, balancing the faith, the family, the personal growth, it means creating a space and boundaries for God, for family, for self care. I say this all the time: God, family, self care. Self care is not selfish, y'all. It's necessary.
Ooh.
It is okay to take time to pour into your purpose, your dreams, and your peace. It's okay to slow down, to reflect, and just be still. And so, for me to be able to balance that all, I have to make time, make intentional space for God, to make sure I stay centered, to make sure I keep the main things for my family, for self care. Peace is a big one for me, Marquita. Peace. I'm
Yeah.
always talking about protecting your peace and fighting for your peace, because if you don't have peace of mind, stress and worry, anxiety, overthinking, all of that stuff will start to break you down.
Ooh. Yes.
Then it breaks down your vision. Then it breaks down your drive. And then you start moving out of frustration instead of faith. And when all that happens, now you just this bitter person, and you burnt out, and you blowing up at everybody. So
Mm-hmm.
protect your peace. Be mindful who you're letting in and what kind of energy you're allowing to take up your space. So balancing all those areas again just means creating a sacred space for each one of them. Maybe I can't give a full hour to prayer and reading my word time every day, or we can't have a family time 5 days a week or whatnot, but we still set a intentional time aside for it. Moments, routines, a pause to invest, what it matters to you. So it's not going to be a perfect balance, but it needs to be a present one, an intentional one. That's what counts the most, I think.
That's good. Because I feel like we live in a world that praises busy but doesn't celebrate balance. But what's one thing that you've learned about protecting your peace while you're walking in your purpose?
Again, I think for me, it's that boundaries, setting the boundaries. I have learned that I don't say yes to everything. I kind of got that reputation, and it's kind of funny. People
Mhm.
like, she ain't about to say yes, she finna say no. It's funny, but nope, because nope, I pray about those things first. I ask God about what, and I mean, not like every single thing, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, let me go and pray about it. But the big things that's going to take a lot of my commitment or time or energy, I have to have time to pray about that. And if that's what God wants me to be doing, because if my hands and if my energy and my focus is too many things, that I'm not supposed to be in, now I'm moving from exhaustion. Now I'm moving again from frustration. I didn't do a good job of protecting my peace, protecting my time, and things like that. So setting boundaries, I think that's key. That has been key for me. When I was writing my book, I set intentional time that I was going to work on it, and then I communicated that with people, my
Mm-hmm.
husband and other people in my life. I set time for this. When I was having these struggles at work, and it was just, man, oh my gosh, it was taking a toll on me, Marquita. I mean, I went to work crying, in my car in the parking lot crying, left work crying. And
Oh
so
man.
yeah, I would come home, and like for 30 minutes, that was my time. That was my time to just be still, release, pray, or whatever. Well, I communicated that with my husband, with my close friends, and so they knew when Tangela got off work at 4:30, don't talk to her, don't say nothing to her. I'm serious. They were
Oh
like,
man.
you need to go in your office. Yep, I do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
about to do. I would greet my husband, and he like, you going to the office? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I have my time, I come out. But so that was boundaries. But you got to communicate that to people so they can respect that. Not everybody will, but the people who matter to you and matter, and who supports your purpose, who
Yeah.
supports your peace of mind and your well-being, they'll respect it. So I would say it'd be boundaries, setting those boundaries, and then being committed to those boundaries, and not letting anybody make you feel bad about having them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go back to the phrase one more time. Sis, it's time to get up. Every woman has that moment where she realizes, okay, I cannot stay here anymore. What was that moment for you?
That's funny you said that. I could actually see that in my head now. So basically, going through that whole season, I was invited to workshops. I was invited to um, meetings and conferences, all that I did not want to go to because I was going through my thing, but I was showing up anyways. And I think that was just God divine. It was so God divine because at each one, I heard things that needed to get into my spirit, that needed to wake something up in me. And at the last one that I had went to, the who is now my now coach, she said something to me like, not to me, but in the room, she's like, we're co-creators with Christ. And I shared this in my book. My friend was with me and I looked at it and I was like, we got too much inside of us not to be doing nothing. We need to be creating. We
Mm-hmm.
need to be creating. And that may not be significant for someone else, but that was my moment. And I came home and I sat on my couch and I talked to my husband. I said, I got to move. I have to move. There's too much inside of me, too much that I went through that God is working on me. I keep hearing the same things over and over. Like you said, you hear those confirmations, and those ain't just to make you feel good and all tingly on the inside. They're speaking to
Yeah.
your soul. They're speaking to your purpose and your vision for you to move and do something with it. And that was it for me. It was like that was that final workshop, those final words that had to be said to me for things to click. And I said, I can't sit here anymore. I said, babe, I gotta move. I gotta move. I gotta do this. And I talked to him about what, coaching training would look like for me, this class, and, what my next steps wanted to be and where I believe God was telling me to do. And from that day forward, here we are,
Here you are.
moving forward. Yeah,
Exactly.
but I had to do something. I had to finally say, all right, Tangela, it's time to get up. And had I not, I wouldn't even be here talking with you today.
Yeah. And that's powerful because sometimes the comeback doesn't look like running. It looks like standing still and saying, I'm ready. Right?
Yep,
Um,
I'm ready.
yes. And once you got up, once you decided to move forward, what changed about how you saw yourself and how you saw God?
Oh my gosh, what changed my house on myself was like, girl, you can do this. Like, it was so funny. Like, my coach, she would say, because in my head, I go back to what me and you kept saying, like, we got to have everything has to be perfect. That was like my biggest struggle, and
Yeah.
it actually was hindering me. My perfectionism and everything had to just you be perfect, and I had to feel ready. I had to feel ready. You're not going to always feel ready. You're not. So I
Never.
was like, I need to have a website. I need to have the brochures. I need to be doing this. And my coach is like, what are you waiting for? You already have everything inside of you. And I was like, I don't know, but I feel like I need to have the website and the brochures and the little pamphlets and all this stuff first. And
Yes.
it's like, no, you don't. And you know what? None of my clients, the people who I minister to, the people that have come across my path, none of them care about that. They did
No.
not.
No.
What mattered was my message. What mattered was me showing up confidently and sharing and being transparent about my experiences and what I went through, and then what the steps I went through to overcome those things and how do I get up from those things. And so it's 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 just awesome how God is so good and he's so faithful, and we just have to remember that. And I just keep going back to we just have to get in agreement with him and partnership with him. And so, that's what I saw. It's like, wow, I really can do this. I
Mm-hmm.
really can do this. And again, I'm not going to allow the enemy, I'm not going to allow my circumstances, I'm not going to allow fears to tell me otherwise, because I have seen that I can do this, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
keep on doing it.
That is for real. The devil, he is too late for that because you already got the control now. You done took the wheel, and you doing it
Yeah.
out here. So, all right, y'all. Let's take a deep breath. Let's do our her side reflections. I always like to close our conversations with something you can journal or pray through after the episode. So, I want you to ask yourself these things. Where in my life have I sat down when I should have stood up? What have I been afraid to move on from? And what might happen if I take the first step? Am I giving myself the same grace I give everybody else? Okay, sis. Because sometimes, let me tell you, getting up isn't about strength, it's about surrender. And did she not say that at the beginning of this? That's so crazy. That's like a full circle moment. That's so crazy. But you guys know how we do this. So let's end with some of our affirmations. Say these out loud if you can, or let them sink in. Okay? I am no longer stuck. I am moving forward. Again, I am no longer stuck. I am moving forward. My past does not define me. It refined me. My past does not define me. It refined me. I like this one. I choose peace over perfection. I choose peace over perfection. I am walking boldly in my purpose on purpose. Now, y'all know that's a dope one. I am walking boldly in my purpose on purpose. This is my season to get up and stay up.
Mm.
Again, this is my season to get up and stay up. Now, in closing, Tangela, I want to thank you so much for joining us on Her Side Conversations. I am so glad the tribe finally got to meet you, your spirit, and your story. Your book, Sis, It's Time to Get Up, is such a timely reminder that no matter what's happened, there's still purpose in your pain. To everyone
Yes.
listening, go support Tangela. Grab her book at tangelasailorcoaching.com, or you can get it on Amazon. And if you're in the Waterloo area, go meet her in person at her book signing event, Saturday, November 15th at 10 a.m. and it ends at 1:30 p.m. at Celebration Church, and that's located at 745 April Street. Did you want to add anything else to our Her Side Tribe listeners before we exit completely out of this?
Look, first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you and your
Yes,
tribe today. What a blessing and honor. I had a great time.
you're so
And
welcome.
yes, and to those women out there, again, every day it's a choice. You're going to make a choice, not a flawless one, but choose to make a faithful one to just keep moving forward. You can rise again, you can walk again, believe again, and rebuild again. There's purpose waiting on the other side of your obedience.
This has been Her Side Conversations, where healing meets honesty and sisterhood meets softness. I'm your host, Marketia, reminding you, rest if you need to, but sis, it's time to get up. I'll see you guys next
Yes.
week.
You never folded, never sat still. That kind of faith gon' break through for real. Your time coming, I feel it in the wind. All that grind, all that pain, about to turn to winds. Every no you heard, God gon' flip to yes. Every closed door was just a divine test. So keep going hard, don't slow down, yeah. You ain't worked this long just to have regrets. You about to rise like you always knew. Your time coming, it's overdue. Mm. 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 You kept showing love even when they switched. Kept walking light when life got dark quick. You poured into others.